Hi guys, welcome to Beans Reads. For today, I have a story from the Best of Redditor update subreddit just for you. This one is a bit wild, so strap in and let's get to it. This story is from the Best of Redditor update subreddit, reposted by Choice Evidence 1983. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to share my inheritance with my sister? The original OP is user Feisty Implement 6823 and was originally posted to the Am I the A-hole subreddit. Hey, just so you guys know, there are mentions of a death of a parent, slander, destruction of property, breaking and entering, harassment, and light mentions of SA. So if you're uncomfortable with it, please go to the next story. Thank you. Okay, so recap. The original post was posted on January 4th, 2025. So, I, 28M, recently lost my father. It was a really tough time, but we knew it was coming because he had been sick for a while. Before he passed, he made it clear in his will that I would inherit the majority of his estate, including his house and a significant amount of money. My sister, 25F, would receive a smaller amount, mostly sentimental items and a bit of cash. Here's the thing. My sister and my dad didn't have a good relationship. She moved out when she was 18 and they barely spoke after that. My dad tried to reconnect several times, but she always shut him down. I, on the other hand, took care of him during his illness, visiting almost every day and handling all of his medical appointments. Now, my sister is furious. She's calling me selfish and saying that it's unfair that she got so little. She thinks I should split the inheritance 50-50. I told her I respected Dad's wishes and that I don't think it's my responsibility to change what he wanted, especially given the circumstance. She argues that family is family and that it's not fair to punish her for their estranged relationship. But I think it's not my fault that they didn't get along. She had years to fix things with him, but she chose not to. My mom, their divorce, is on her side, saying that I should do the right thing and give her more money to keep the peace. Some friends agree with her, while others think I'm justified in keeping what I was given. So am I the a-hole for not wanting to share my inheritance with my sister? I've seen some comments saying that this sounds fake or that I'm leaving out key details, so let me clarify a few things. First, about my sister's estrangement. It wasn't something that happened overnight. After my parents' divorce, she sided heavily with my mom and gradually distanced herself from our dad. She blamed him for the split, and even though Dad tried to reconcile over the years, she was unwilling to meet him halfway. I'm not saying she's a bad person. Divorces are messy, but it's not like Dad cut her off for no reason. Second, I know some of you might think that Dad was playing favorites, but I don't see it that way. I think he divided things based on who was there for him in his final years. It wasn't about punishment, it was about recognition. Lastly, for those saying I'm conveniently painting myself as the golden child, I promise that is not my intention. My sister had her reasons for stepping back, but I stepped up because I felt like it was the right thing to do. That's why this situation is so hard. I'm trying to honor my dad's wishes, but I also don't want to completely ruin my relationship with my sister. Hope this clears up some of the gaps. Q&A. I've seen a lot of questions, so I'll try to clarify some things and fill in the gaps. Why did my parents get divorced? My parents' divorce happened when I was 12 and my sister was 9. It wasn't one big event, it was a combination of things. My dad worked long hours running his own business, and my mom felt neglected. She also said Dad had a controlling personality, which caused a lot of tension. On the other hand, Dad felt Mom wasn't supportive of his career and resented him for working so much. Eventually, they just couldn't make it work, and they decided to separate. My sister blamed Dad for the divorce because, in her eyes, he was the one who chose work over family. Mom didn't exactly help. She would make comments about how Dad cared more about his business than his kids. I think this shaped my sister's perspective and made her more distant from him. Why were my sister and Dad so conflicted? After the divorce, I stayed with Dad while my sister lived with Mom. Dad tried to stay involved in her life, but the distance, both physical and emotional, made things harder. Over time, my sister started avoiding him. For example, he'd call her, but she wouldn't pick up. He'd send gifts or letters, and she never acknowledged them. One of the big breaking points came when she graduated high school. Dad showed up to her graduation uninvited because he wanted to celebrate with her, but she got upset and accused him of trying to make it about himself. And after that, they barely spoke. Why didn't my sister visit when Dad was sick? This is something only my sister can fully explain, but I think it goes back to their strained relationship. By the time Dad got sick, they hadn't spoken in years. I reached out to her multiple times telling her how serious things were, but she said she wasn't ready to see him. Dad was hurt, but never angry. He just said she has to come on her own terms. Unfortunately, she never did. Why didn't Dad just leave everything 50-50? I asked myself this too. I think Dad felt the inheritance should reflect the relationships he had. He knew I had been there for him throughout his illness, and he wanted to recognize that. At the same time, he didn't want to completely exclude my sister, which is why he left her sentimental items and some money. I don't think it was about punishing her. I think he just wanted to acknowledge the reality of our family dynamic. Hope this clears up some of the questions people have been asking. Let me know if there's anything else I can explain. Am I the A-hole has no consensus bot, but the original OP was labeled not the A-hole. I am so sorry to hear about your dad, and I don't think you're the a-hole. From what you said, this wasn't a punishment thing, but even if it was, your sister only has the right to be angry with your dad. He's the one who had the final say over who got what. Whether that's fair or not isn't your concern after you've divided up what was left. If you wanted to give her any money from your part of the inheritance, then that would be a gift from you. From your sister's point of view, I can see how she felt like this was just another way of him separating himself from her. She could think that whatever was given to her versus you is how your dad really felt. And if so, it's probably her projecting. She most likely knows that her treatment of your dad would have led up to something like this happening deep down. I think it would do her some good to seek some grief counseling alongside any current counselors she may be seeing. You mentioned that she had her own reasons for stepping back and that since you have a better relationship with him, you felt like you needed to help your dad. Yes, it would have been great for him if she had visited, if she could keep her temper in check, or if she had moved past what had happened, but she hasn't. Not only would have affected your dad, but it would also affect your sister. I really hope that your mom put her in counseling when the divorce happened, but with how she was before he died, I don't think that's the case. Your sister's feelings of anger and disappointment need to be addressed with a professional and not taken out on you. At the end of the day, no one can blame you for the inheritance issue since you're not the one who had the final say. Here are the top comments. Commenter 1. So family is family now, but it wasn't when your dad tried to have a relationship with her. Honor dad's wishes, not the a-hole. Commenter 2. Not the a-hole, your dad made his wishes pretty clear in his will, and respecting those is totally valid. It sounds like you were the one in the trenches with him during his tough times, which probably factored into his decision. It's rough that your sis is upset, but redistributing the inheritance isn't a Monopoly game where you can shuffle the properties to keep the peace. Maybe try explaining to her that it's about respecting what your dad wanted, not playing favorites. If peace needs to be bought, maybe it's priced too high. Commenter 3. Not the a-hole. You are respecting your dad's wishes, and that's key. It's tough she didn't get as much, but like you said, she had time to mend things and chose not to. You can't just rewrite wills to make everyone happy. That defeats their purpose. Commenter 4. Interesting how family is family when dividing up the inheritance, but not so much when her father was alive trying to mend the relationship with her. Commenter 5. Tell your sister and your mom that you would be fine if your mom left more to her since the relationship focus went that way, but that you will also expect your sister to be the one that steps up and takes care of your mom when the time comes, not the a-hole. Update 1. This post was posted on January 18, 2025, 2 weeks later. Thanks for all of the responses on my original post. After thinking it through and reading a lot of your comments, I've decided I'm not giving my sister anything beyond what Dad left her. His will was clear, and I'm not going to disrespect his wishes to appease someone who didn't even bother to visit him when he was dying. I tried to be reasonable and explain my side, but it's pointless. My sister is still sending me nasty texts, calling me names, and acting like I stole from her. My mom is no better. She's basically turned this into a full-on guilt trip, saying things like, "You're tearing this family apart," and "You're just like your father." Honestly, if being just like Dad means standing my ground, I'll take it as a compliment. At this point, I'm done trying to keep the peace. They can say whatever they want about me. I'm not changing my mind. I'm going to do what I want with the inheritance and move on with my life. If that means cutting some people off, so be it. To everyone who said I'm not the thank you. It feels good to have some validation. For now, I'm focusing on honoring my dad's memory and making the most of what he left me. We'll see where this goes next, but I'm not backing down. Well, the sister is definitely not in therapy, that's for sure. I'm sorry, but the whole "you're tearing this family apart" is so funny to me. It's always someone else's fault, huh? I've read and lived through the whole "you should be the one to suck it up" song and dance. It only really leads to you getting hurt in the long run. I'm glad that you're honoring your dad's will. Like I said before, if you decide to give her some of your inheritance, it would be a gift from you, not what she's entitled to. In my opinion, it's better to just leave this be and step away from the situation because it just seems like an energy drain. Hopefully she and your mother aren't the type to blow this situation up because the harassment you're getting right now seems like a headache enough. Top comments. Commenter 1. Tell your mom that you are happy that you aren't like her. Hit her where it hurts. Commenter 2. Glad you're following your dad's wishes. Sounds like mom and sister only care about the money. Time to block them. Commenter 3. So your mother and sister were estranged from your father due to him prioritizing his work, but want to gain from the fruit of that hard work? The mental gymnastics are real with them. It's not often people wear their hypocrisy so loudly. You're doing the right thing. Commenter 4. Good on you for standing your ground. You're doing the right thing. Good luck, with a little smiley emoji. New updates. Update number 2. This post was posted June 19, 2025, 5 months later from the first update. It's been a while since my last update, but things have gone completely off the rails since then, and I need to get this off my chest. So, 6 months after my dad passed and the inheritance was finalized, my sister completely lost it. I thought things were rough before, but this took it to a whole new level. First, she tried to sue me. She claimed I manipulated Dad into changing the will and accused me of undue influence, saying I isolated him while he was sick and pressured him while he was medicated. It was full of lies and reached so far, I don't even know how she said it with a straight face. She even had 2 friends of hers sign statements saying that they felt something was off, even though neither of them were ever around our family. Her case got tossed quickly. The judge dismissed it with prejudice, so she can't try again. I thought that would be the end of it. Nope. She started harassing me. Constant text, emails, calls from private numbers. She made burner accounts on social media and commented on anything I posted, signing me up for mailing lists. Then I walk outside one day and someone had spray painted thief across my garage. I have cameras now and yeah, it was her, clear as day. Had to file a police report and that's still in progress. Then she showed up at the house while I was gone for the weekend. Broke in through the back window. She wrecked the place. Ripped pictures off the walls, poured something on the couch that smelled like bleach, broke furniture, went through drawers, dumped boxes of my dad's stuff on the floor. She left a note in the bathroom mirror that just said, "You don't deserve this." I reported a break-in and now there's a criminal case open against her. But hang on, it gets worse. Right after that, she started telling extended family and mutual friends that I had assaulted her when we were younger. That is where I draw the line. It's not just petty inheritance drama anymore. She crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. I've never done anything like that, obviously. And hearing that kind of accusation come from your own sibling is something I don't think I'll ever fully process. I have nothing to hide, and I've already spoken to a lawyer. If she says it publicly again, I'm filing a defamation suit. My mom is still trying to play both sides. She says things like, "Your sister is just grieving in her own way," as if that justifies any of this. It doesn't. We are done. I've cut contact with both of them. If there's a takeaway here, it's that people can spiral in ways that you never expect when money and guilt get mixed together. I kept thinking, surely this is the last straw, but it just kept going. I'm tired, I'm angry, and I'm done. I'll keep the house, I'll keep what Dad left me, and I'll keep my distance. How is it that my bad feelings always seem to come true in these posts? Your sister is so far out of line that I doubt that she can even see the line anymore. Your mom? I have no words at this point. How in the world does she see what her daughter is doing and think, "Oh, it's not like she slapped you in the face. Please don't be mad at her." I hate to be the one to break it to her, but this sister genuinely needs help. This isn't something you can sweep under the rug and pretend it never happened or pretend that it was just a mistake. For everyone's sake, I hope they stay away from you, OP, as you continue to keep your distance. New update. Update 3, posted on June 13, 2026, nearly a whole year later. It's been a while since my last update, and honestly, I wasn't sure if I would ever make another one. After everything that happened with my sister, I felt like there wasn't much left to say. The legal issues were moving through the system, I had cut contact with most of the people involved, and I was trying to focus on rebuilding my life instead of constantly looking over my shoulder, waiting for the next disaster. Before I get into the update, I wanted to thank everyone who's followed this story. A few people recently pointed out that between the original post and all of the updates, they've now been viewed over 1 million times. That's honestly difficult to wrap my head around. When I made the first post, I was just looking for outside opinions because I felt completely stuck. I never expected so many people to become invested in what started as a family argument over an inheritance. A lot of you gave advice that ended up being more helpful than you probably realize. The people who kept telling me to document everything were absolutely right. At the time, I thought I was being thorough, but looking back, I don't think I could have over-prepared for what eventually happened. Every message, every email, every voicemail, and every piece of camera footage ended up mattering at some point. For the past several months, life has been surprisingly quiet. That's probably the biggest update that I have. After over a year of constant conflict, legal filings, accusations, and drama, things finally slowed down. I didn't realize how much stress I had been carrying until I stopped having to deal with a new crisis every week. It's strange how quickly chaos becomes normal when you're living through it. One thing that did surprise me was hearing from extended family members I haven't spoken to in a long time. Several people reached out over the last few months, and the conversations were very different from what I expected. Instead of questioning me or asking about the inheritance, most of them were apologizing. Apparently, as more information came out and people started comparing stories, a lot of relatives realized they had accepted things that they were told about me without ever asking my side of the situation. Some of those conversations were honestly uncomfortable because I didn't know how to respond. A few relatives admitted that they had believed I manipulated my father. Others said they assumed that the lawsuit meant that there had to be something suspicious about the will. One person even told me that they thought I had intentionally prevented my sister from seeing my father during his illness. Hearing that was frustrating, but it also explained why some people had suddenly distanced themselves from me after my father passed away. The common theme in all those conversations was that people eventually started noticing inconsistencies. Different people had been told different versions of the same story, and those versions didn't always line up with each other. Once questions started being asked, some of the narratives that had been circulated through the family became much harder to defend. For the first time since this entire situation began, I wasn't the one being asked to explain myself. My relationship with my mother remains complicated. We've spoken a handful of times, and while things are less hostile than they used to be, I wouldn't describe them as good. We still disagree about a lot of what happened, and I don't think either of us is likely to change our mind anytime soon. That said, we've at least reached a point where we can have a conversation without it turning into an argument within 5 minutes, which is more progress than I would have expected a year ago. As for my sister, well, there really isn't much to report. We haven't spoken, and I haven't made any effort to change that. Some relationships can survive serious disagreements, but what happened between us went far beyond a disagreement about money. Too many things were said and too many lines were crossed for me to pretend that everything can simply go back to normal. Maybe things will be different someday, but that's not something I'm actively hoping for or planning around. The biggest thing I've realized over the last year and a half is that the inheritance itself stopped being the main issue a long time ago. When I made the original post, I thought the argument was about money. Looking back, the money was just the spark that exposed years of resentment, unsolved family problems, and completely different views of the same events. The inheritance isn't what broke my family. It just revealed how broken parts of it already were. For now, my life is stable. The house feels like my home and work is going well. And I'm finally making plans that don't revolve around court dates or legal paperwork. After everything that's happened, I've learned not to assume that the story is completely over. But for the first time since my father died, it feels like I'm moving forward instead of standing still. As always, thank you to everyone who followed this situation and offered advice along the way. I never expected over 1 million people to read about what happened to my family, but I'm grateful for the support I've received. Hopefully, my next update, if there ever is one, will be significantly less dramatic than the ones that came before it. Additional comment from OP. Since a lot of people are asking about the criminal case, I'll answer what I can. I can't get into every detail because some of it is still subject to court records, and I really don't want to turn this into a play-by-play of the legal process. That said, the charges stemmed from the break-in and damage to the house. The camera footage ended up being a huge factor. It clearly showed my sister entering the property while I was away and remaining inside for a significant amount of time. Combined with the condition of the house afterward, the damaged property, and some other evidence collected during the investigation, law enforcement felt like there was enough to move forward. The charges included unlawful entry, criminal mischief/property damage, and a few related offenses. Again, I'm being intentionally somewhat vague because I don't want to post documents online, but it wasn't a situation where she got arrested because of an argument over inheritance. It was specifically tied to actions she took after the inheritance dispute. A lot of people have asked whether she served jail time. The answer is no. She ultimately accepted a plea agreement. From my understanding, that involved probation, restitution related to some of the damage, and conditions restricting contact. Some people will probably think that that's too lenient, and others will think that it's too harsh. But at that point, I wasn't interested in revenge. I just wanted the behavior to stop. The allegations were never a part of the criminal case. Those accusations were never sustained and never resulted in charges against anyone. My attorney's advice was to document everything, avoid public arguments, and address any false statements through the proper legal channels if necessary. I know some people were expecting a dramatic courtroom showdown, but real life is usually less exciting than Reddit wants it to be. Most legal disputes end with paperwork, negotiations, and people getting tired of paying lawyers. The biggest thing the criminal case accomplished was creating consequences and boundaries. For the first time since all of this started, there were actual restrictions in place. Whether people agree with the outcome or not, things became significantly quieter afterward, which was ultimately what I wanted. Wow, OP, I am beyond glad that you're finally getting some peace. Between the legal fees, the recent passing of your dad, your sister acting, quite frankly, deranged, and having a little to no familial support, I think you deserve a break at this point. I just hope that you live your days in peace, and I wish you the best of luck, OP. I'm not going to say anything more about the family situation since for these past few updates, I haven't had the best luck with guessing the future. I'll just say that I hope her life remains quiet. Outro time! I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and don't forget to like it if you want to see more stuff like this. Sub if you want to see more of me, and I hope you guys are doing alright. Beans out. Bye!